Hello and welcome. On the other side of the screen, a very good day to you. We're going to take a look at levels and flats of the railway. Because if the Earth was an oblated spheroid, then on this hypothetical globe, the datum line, we all know, would be an actual arc of a circle, corresponding to the latitude of the place, like the image that you can actually see. And this is what they actually call a mathematical impossibility, because this does not exist anywhere in nature. And what is a mathematical certainty is the datum line for all railway projection is always a horizontal line, and certainly not a curved one, contrary to this popular belief. So in short, it proves that the general configuration of our Earth is a horizontal line and not an arched one. Level does mean level and not arc. So this is a concrete proof, it's an empirical proof, and also an incontestable proof of real science that the Earthland is flat. And also part of many proofs that you already know what you see with your own two eyes, that the Earth can never be any type of hypothetical spinning ball. Now, for example, the line from London to Swindon is very flat and straight. This is in the UK. Brunel the engineer knew how important straight tracks would have to be. Railways have to get around natural features such as rivers, hills, man-made things such as buildings, and even entire towns. You can't literally move a town or a river or a big hill, can you? So this is why you need tunnels, and tunnels are very expensive to build as well, friends. So sometimes engineers dig a groove into the land to make it so the railway can pass at a lower level than the original ground level, and that's what they call a cutting. In many parts of the UK, the countryside itself is not flat, so to keep the track as level as possible, earth might be built up into embankments or dug into to form these cuttings. There's one final way trains can stay level, and you might recognise it from some really iconic movies like Harry Potter, which is the viaduct, and Stockport has a very interesting one. A long bridge that spans a valley is what a viaduct is. There are 2,000 viaducts themselves on the UK rail network and over 30,000 bridges. So this will give you an example. When surveying engineers are planning a railway, right from the very start they're thinking of ways to make sure trains run as smoothly and as quickly as possible. It's better if the track is laid as straight as possible, because the fastest way between two places is a straight line and not some hypothetical curving one. We all know this. Now that doesn't mean in a straight line from one place to another, but also as flat as possible. The levels are taken by a succession of short tangents which overlap, so that in surveyors' slang they say the backsight cancels the foresight. Surveyors require back and foresights for our uneven ground, and that their datum line must be parallel to the horizon. Horizontal horizon, which is invariably level. The Helio defenders actually say because you take the sights midway between the two places, an allowance is somehow made for this supposed curvature. However, in all surveys that are actually done on plain Earth today, yesterday, no allowance has ever and can ever be considered for curvature, which would be that necessity for that fallacious globe religion. However, a horizontal line in every single case is the datum line, the same line being continuous throughout the whole length of work, and it's flat, like the Earth. All our trains and locomotives are all designed to run on what we call or may be regarded as true levels or flats. anything approaching to 8 inches in the mile increasing as the square of the distance could never ever be factored in or be worked out by any engine yet constructed. There is no such thing as a curve to the Earth. Theoretical measurements are incapable of any practical illustration. Now, of course, to be clear, friends, there are, of course, partial inclines or gradients here and there, but they are always accurately defined and carefully traversed as running trains round spherical curves. Really? Horizontal curves on levels are seriously dangerous enough. Vertical curves would just be 1,000 times worse. The hovering bullet train in Japan took 100 people on a 27 flat mile test run, travelling at an incredible 311 miles per hour between the cities of Uenohara and Fukuoka. Now, this is magnetic levitation power, friends, on flat level rails, not curving ones. If one was to test this allowance for curvature, it means that it is 8 inch for the first mile of, let's say, a canal or railway, and thus increasing at the ratio by the square of the distance in miles. Thus, a small navigable canal boats, let's say 30 miles long, will have by the said rule of allowance for curvature of 600 feet. Now, this is utter rubbish, friends. Nothing of the sort can ever be allowed or ever be constructed. No surveying engineer would ever think of allowing 600 feet for a line of 30 miles of railway or canal, than of wasting their time trying to square the circle. They all know a circle is certainly not a globe, just like Euclid did, the father of mathematics. So to reiterate, theoretical measurements are incapable of any practical illustration. Our earthland is level. In practical levelling, you work off ordnance marks or canal levels to get the height above sea level. And this is a flat horizontal line, folks. Astronomers know full well that there is no use appealing to the engineers or the surveyors for any type of proof of the Earth's redundancy. There are practical, or as should I say, as their practical science is absolutely dead against the globular theory, although many of them still believe in it, which is unbelievable, unless you were obviously Brian Mullen, and I hope he's very well, by the way. Now, in history of the Great Western Railway, which is more than 118 miles long, the whole line, with the exception of the inclined planes, may be regarded as practically level. So in 118 miles of level railway, and yet the surface on which is projected seems to be this globe. Now, how can that be? This is, or I say to this empirically, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of railway track has been laid on the earthland over many hundreds and hundreds of years without any such curvature calculation being required or ever factored into anything mathematically, because it doesn't exist in our practical reality. It will always be just supposed, a theory of one. It's there, it's supposed to be there, but we can't measure it, so it's not there. It is well known that in the Argentinian Republic and other parts of South America, there are railways that run thousands of miles long without curvature or any gradient. Not like here in the UK, the distance between the eastern and western coasts of England may be set down as around 300 miles level, so the Salisbury Plain is a plain, and Lake Windermere is very horizontal indeed, the rails being carried in one perfectly straight line across the level plains of Argentina. Our surface of which is level and sea level. Furthermore, the Northwestern Railway forms a straight line, and this is a distance of 180 miles between London and Liverpool. Now, for a laugh, folks, let's just remember what we are supposed to be missing here. The difference of level between these two places should be over 4 miles, but it's not. The railroad's highest point midway at Birmingham station is only 240 feet above sea level. So if it's supposed to be this globe curving at this generous 8 inch per mile squared, the 180 mile stretch of rail would form this arc with the centre point at Birmingham raising over a mile a full 5,400 feet above London and Liverpool. And yet that's not the case, is it? Certainly not. We've been on it. There's no such thing as a curve to Earth, friends. It's just an imaginary, supposed theatrical one, as the datum line which surveyors are made will always be a flat, horizontal, level line. As the famous Bedford level has already proven, all houses, all buildings have to be built on level ground. This is a must. Theodolites, sextants, spirit levels, water-filled spirit levels, powerful surveying lasers, telescopes, they're all used for a flat, straight, level, horizontal line. Nothing more and nothing less. Level railways prove 100% a flat, level world, and not a convex one. This is a fact, to the absolute, utter frustration, the confusion or humiliation school of globular religion. Impractical men and women with those high egos and very little common sense to back it up with. Remember, as our Lord said, it's not what you put in your mouth that defiles you, it's what comes out of your mouth that defiles you. And it is customary in all railway and canal constructions for all levels to be referred to as a datum which is nominally horizontal and is shown on all sections. It is not the practice in laying out public works to make allowances for the curvature of the earth. Manchester Ship Canal. Case closed, friends. Enjoy the truth as you see it, or when you ride on a train or barge. See you soon, friends.